Welcome to CruzTalks. I'm your host, just Cruz. This will be our next episode that we'll be recording live on Twitch. If you haven't seen me yet or followed me yet, it's just underscore Cruz underscore on Twitch, just for gaming and different talks and stuff. We'll be recording our live episode today here on Twitch, just talking with people, interacting with people as they come in. But this episode is going to be more like, why is the military community and veteran community so toxic? But before we do, make sure to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe in order to help the channel grow and know what content you would like more of. Also, don't forget to turn on your notifications so that you can be one of the first to view my next video. It's a difficult discussion to have. It's difficult to talk about. It's difficult to get into. It's situations where it's hard to talk about because it's like you're talking about your brothers and sisters, but it's like sometimes you gotta talk about your brothers and sisters in order to call them out and like get stuff straightened out and fixed. Because otherwise, it just stays quiet. The big issue going on today, basically what was heard is a couple of days now. But the whole issue concerning a 14-year-old kid being found in the barracks in the United States Marine Corps installation. It's a 14-year-old that was missing and reported missing, had been reported missing, I believe it was like June 13th for the second week of June. Mind you, today is July 10th. So it's concerning that it's almost been a month that this child was missing. She's 14 years old. And she was found on an Army installation in an Army barracks. So it's like so many questions get brought up. But before we get into that, the topic is like, why are veterans so toxic? So on my TikTok, I decided to say something about it. Like, hey, this is something that's like a serious thing that needs to be found out. So this guy decides he's going to reply by saying, hey, it's under investigation now. So you assuming doesn't help. And you guessing doesn't help either, so you should just leave it alone. And that really like rubbed me wrong, and it really like ticked me off to the fact that it's just like somebody really wants to say we should leave this alone. Like, that's the problem with a lot of the veteran community. Like, yeah, you were brought up in a different military, I guess. Maybe I'll just take these off. Yeah, I'll just take these off. But the military is not the same as it was back in the day. Like before, it was a lot more justification and allowance of bad behavior. Yeah, people got reprimanded for it, but a lot of the times, a lot of the behaviors that you see nowadays that are coming out to light, these people have been in the military for quite some time now. So it's not their first instance of it happening. So it's like the veteran community towards itself is like very diminishing, very belittling. And it's like sometimes it's not even just veterans alone. Sometimes it's actual people that are on active duty that are doing this to people. And it's a serious problem because the thing is it doesn't get spoke about enough because it's like taboo kind of. But at the same time, it's like it needs to be spoken about because it's like veterans are hurting each other instead of helping each other out. So it's like if you were in the still active duty or you're part of the force, whether you served one day or 20-something plus years, you're still part of the military. You still went through basic training. You still graduated. You're still part of that community. So why not help each other out? All the mentality isn't the same, though. And that's the big problem, because to have somebody say, hey, just leave it alone, it's under investigation, is a big issue. Because the issue that it reminded me of was with the Vanessa Guillen case in Fort Hood, Texas. Army came out and just said, hey, we had nothing to do with this. We did our investigation, yada, yada, yada. We didn't find nothing. To come to find out that it was the supervisor that she had, the NCO in charge of her, that committed the murder, ended up cutting up her body and throwing it into the woods or wherever it was that they threw it into. So, like I was saying on the TikTok, it was just like the military will always try to save face no matter what. which I understand. You want to keep that prestigious look. You want to keep that look like, hey, we are a formidable thing, which the U.S. is. There's no doubt about that. But the thing is you have to make sure that you're speaking out on those bad apples or those rotten apples, so that people understand that, so that people see that, because it's something that people aren't seeing and aren't hearing about. So it's like you can't have any organization and all you hear is good about the organization. That already makes it sound like it's kind of tricky. It's like something ain't right. If something's always good, no, it's like it's too good to be true. So in the case with veterans, it's like, yeah, talk down to each other. And it's not like the first instance I had dealing with veterans, because even if you look on a bunch of like social media platforms, you can look at different social media platforms where you have veterans and they're being called out on by other veterans just to like be quiet, oh, be a better professional, this stuff and that. And it's just like some people got, I guess, too institutionalized when it came to it, that they don't understand that, hey, it's okay to joke about certain things. It's not okay to joke about other things. It's okay to speak out on certain things. Well, it's okay to speak out on everything. There shouldn't be anything that shouldn't be spoken out about. And that's the thing. A lot of the times they see it as you shouldn't speak on it and you should just leave it alone. Let the higher authorities deal with it. And the reason I have a problem with that is like I called the dude out, and it was just like there should be no reason why letting it go. I should be letting it go. I was like, it's a 14-year-old kid that was missing for almost a month. And you found her in a barracks, which is all adults. So whoever it was 18 or higher. How old? You don't know, because in the military, you can join at different ages. As long as you're 17 or 18 and up, you could join. But this kid was 14 years old in the barracks and had been claimed as missing. So that starts, questions being asked like, hey, where was the leadership? Why wasn't that room being checked? There's so many questions to it, but the fact that it's an underage child. I got kids. That's concerning to me that a kid was able to get on base, which I'm guessing she had access to, but at the same time, she was staying in the barracks. And the soldier got arrested for it. The information still isn't put it out because, like the guy was saying, it's under investigation. But there's a lot of investigations in the military that get brushed under the rug, or they just happen to disappear. So it doesn't get too much speculation. It doesn't get a bunch of information brought out. Yet again, like I said, with the Vanessa Guillen, the documentary is on Netflix already. If you haven't watched that, watch that. It's very informational and it gives you insight to a lot of stuff that was not put out into the world or into the news, because to not put a bad light on the army. But like I said, everything is not gold and glitter. It can't be. There has to be something wrong, and if you make a effort to at least diminish that, control it, say something about it, do something about it, it paints a better light on the military. Like, yes, we do have rotten apples, because every organization does. But the fact that some people just want to like, hey, let's shy away from it. Let's not talk about it. Let's keep it quiet. That's a big issue. And that's an issue that needs to be fixed. And that's an issue that shouldn't be happening, because it's like you're allowing this to happen, and this is what's going on, and this is the problem. So just being able to do that and say like, hey, let's let it go is a problem. 14-year-old kid in the barracks, missing. Questions arise. Why would you want to keep this quiet? Because then they mentioned something about that it might be human trafficking. Like, yes, I'm not trying to put out assumptions. I'm not trying to say this is what happened or this is what it is, because I don't know. But the thing is I would like to know, because that's something that should be put out there just for information, just to know like, hey, what happened with this kid? Why is this kid here? How did this kid get into this situation? How was this even allowed? Like, certain measures have to be taken, because the thing is whoever's in charge of that soldier, they're going to be in trouble just because of the fact that it was like, bro, you didn't check on this person? Like, how did they have a kid living in their thing and you didn't know about it? And the thing is like, it's crazy, because then whoever lived around them was like, you mean to tell me nobody saw this kid come in there? Or unless the kid looks older, but even then, the kid is just staying there? Like, but then that brings me back to toxic veterans, because of the fact that you said to let it go. And it was like, no, there should be no reason why people are letting stuff like this go. Because this is the situation where the Marine Corps, the Air Force, shit, Space, what is it, Space Force, the Navy, Coast Guard, like, you have all these people. I think I forgot one. I just rambled off all of them that I could think of. I know I missed one. But it's just like, within all these communities, within all these organizations, there are rotten apples. It does come out to light sometimes. You'd see it mostly in the military times or like the army news or stuff like that. That's where you see some of this happen and where this comes and the light is shed on it. But a lot of the information is left out because it'll go to a court martial and stuff like that. And then they'll say it's what you could say it's like security reasons. There ain't no security reasons for why you hiding this information. There's information that should be known to the public, because the thing is that way you know that something was done about it. Because if you ask a lot of people, which one of these episodes I'm gonna do this because I will be attending school and I'm going to have like a questionnaire just for people that I'm in class with, like, hey, how do you feel about this? Or why wouldn't you join the military? Or why would you join the military? And I'm going to see if they'll sign up for it and they'll give me, and if I can put it, I'll put it in on there and see if they want to be on the show and just talk to them about it, just to see like what they say. Because I know with a lot of people is just the fact that like, hey, there's a lot of like sexual harassment. There's a lot of toxic stuff. There's bad leadership. There's the threat of war. There's scared of being like, there's different factors to it. But the thing is when you have people within that same community being as toxic, that doesn't help recruiting wise. That doesn't help retention wise, because you're showing people that this is the attitude that some of the people have in the military. So if this is the attitude that these people are showing, these are the attitudes that are being given and being like showcased. It was like, you see how toxic it is. It's like, why the hell would I want to join this? And it's like, that's why it's like with veterans and even active duty, you have to call people out that are toxic. You have to say something to them. You have to stand up to them. Like, yes, be a professional at it. But at the same time, if somebody's doing something wrong, there should be no reason why you're not saying anything about it. It's like, no matter what the rank is, if you're being disrespectful or somebody's being sexually harassed or something, you have to nip that in the butt. Because the thing is like, something happens and you allow it, what's going to stop that person from doing it again? Like with sexual assault cases in the military, there's so many times that somebody gets accused, which wrongfully it does happen at times, but when it does happen correctly, that person stays in the military. Some of them continue their careers for who knows how long. And the thing is if that person did that one time, that was the one time they got caught. For some, yes, it might be a life-changing experience. For others, it's like, hey, maybe I just got to become smarter at it. I was like, not everybody is, perfect in the military. You have people that have histories and stuff like that joined or retired by now. Hey, when you need people, you need people. You start lowering the standards, you start lowering this, you start accepting people that can be kind of questionable just because you need people. See what I'm saying? So, I'm not going to say that everybody's perfect. A lot of it is. A lot of it is great in the military. Don't get me wrong. But you do have bad apples. But just being on the outside, just dealing with people on different social media. Like, there's one guy on social media. It's a Sergeant First Class. He has 2 Purple Hearts. This man is badass as you can know it. And he's telling the stories of the people that he fought with. People that he lost, and he was by their side when he lost them. He's telling those stories, and you'll have people in the veteran community or just in the military community giving them backlash, talking to them, hey, you need to be a better professional. You shouldn't be talking about this. You should keep it quiet. You shouldn't be telling them about these things. But then he does show the videos of people like congratulating him, and even the families saying thank you for putting their story out. Because the thing is a lot of stories of heroes don't get put out of there. You don't hear all the stories of the heroes. You hear about when they passed, but you don't hear about the stuff that they did to influence that soldier that reveres them and honors them that way. So it's like it's stuff like that that shows you different things, because it's like on TikTok is easy, the easiest way to see, because it's on a short form, short videos, quick and easy to see person saying something. But you see the comments that people leave on some of these service members stuff, it's just like, wow, like this is really what this is how y'all are. So I can only imagine how y'all were when you actually were serving. So y'all were part of the problem. And it's just like, yeah, the generations are different. Every generation is different. But the thing is some of y'all old heads are so outdated that y'all need to sit the fuck down. And y'all don't. Y'all want to look at things and y'all want to put my 2 cents in, oh, the back in my day, we did this. It was like, back in y'all day, y'all didn't even have cell phones. So if y'all didn't even have cell phones, how y'all up to date now with what the military's doing? Because y'all grew up in an era where cell phones wasn't a thing. But now all of a sudden y'all hip to it because y'all on TikTok, y'all on Facebook, y'all on YouTube, y'all on all this. And it's just like, now you got 2 cents to say. Now you got something to say and you want to proclaim it as, oh, back in my day, people were tougher. I was like, no, a lot of y'all just didn't say anything when shit was supposed to be said. That's the one thing I do give this generation. This generation is willing to stand up and isn't taking the shit as it used to. Because the thing is you still have great soldiers in the military. There's great soldiers serving right now in this generation. This, what they call it, they would like to call it the Y generation or the cell phone generation and stuff like that. It was just like, yeah, the mentality is different, but some of these people still execute. Some of these people still want to go to Ranger School. Some of these people still want to go to special forces. They want to do psyops. They want to do all these extraordinary things that you can't do through the military. But the thing is, they have people like you holding them back. They have people that don't allow stuff to be spoken about or want only what they want to speak about to be spoken about. Like a simple thing just with, what was it? Like on my YouTube channel, I have a video which is basically of the 2024 disability rates proposed, which I also put in the description saying that, hey, this isn't actual. This is what would happen if you have a 3.1% increase in the disability rate. So this is the information that you may have, and I put it on the description saying, hey, October 1st of 2023 is when those numbers will be updated. So that's when you will have your information, and that's when you will know, like, hey, this is what's going on. These are the actual numbers. So I put that on there, and then you have what is a bunch of veterans just coming at me. Just like, hey, man, you lying to the vets. You shouldn't be telling them lies. I was just like, reading is fundamental. Because the thing is if you realize it, I'm saying that these are proposed numbers. These aren't the actual numbers. These are just in case it is a 3.1, it might be these numbers. That changes because of the CPI. It changes. Nobody knows what it is. Depending on how people want to spend, how much the economy's doing, how much they actually want to increase it, that's what it gets increased. And that's when I said I'll put out another thing. But the backlash I get from certain people, I actually had to block people. And I was just like, I'm surprised. I'm just trying to put out information. But that's the thing, is just like certain information, if somebody doesn't agree with it, they just attack you for it. And that's the veteran community at times on these social platforms. And I think that's the problem, because it's like, if you had this type of mentality while you were serving, that means that those people around you did not progress. You didn't mentor them. You didn't make them better, because you were just belittling them. Even though the information was there, plain as day, you were still belittling them and saying things that you shouldn't have, and you just felt you could because you had the rank to do it. So I called them out, yeah. Same thing on TikTok. Called that guy out, and I made a specific video just for that individual. But it's the fact that veterans go against each other so easily. There's so many influential people on these social medias that are still active duty. There are great members of the military community that are still serving this country and are trying to either educate or just make fun of or make light of certain situations. And you will have people from the same veteran community or just from the same duty, go at them. Now, I understand certain things do have guidelines. There are regulations. There's, stuff that can't be said, stuff you can't be doing. But then there's certain things that is just like, it's some people like pouring out their feelings towards something. I was just like, just because you're in the military doesn't mean you can't have feelings. You have your own right to speak. You just can't do it in a uniform. Because basically you're not speaking as part of the United States Army. You're speaking as yourself. And I think that's the distinguishing thing that a lot of people don't understand is like, hey, people have personal lives. If they want to do something that's not going against the country, not going against their unit, not going against what they're supposed to be doing in uniform, I don't see what the issue is. I was like, when people are belittling or talking shit about the commander-in-chief and stuff like that, that is a serious issue. But if it's just like, hey, I don't understand why the military does this. The thing is like, the military does do stuff that's outdated. There's a lot of information that's outdated that could be fixed, could be developed, could be updated. Just like I said, cell phones. A lot of these people joined, they didn't have cell phones. Cell phones wasn't a known thing where you can take pictures of everything, videos of everything. And now it's like you can video and take pictures of mostly anything that happens around you in the military. So now it's like, hey, you can't be on TikTok. You can't be posting all this stuff on social media. Why? Because they want to have a deterrent for it when it's something bad and they want to be able to, circumvent it and not let it get out there. Issues like that need to be spoken about. Because the thing is stuff is outdated. So that means you're not keeping up to times. Soldiers are keeping up with the times. Soldiers see what's going on. Soldiers are able not to communicate when something happens in their unit and the other unit. Whereas before, that didn't happen. If it happened in your unit, chances are they kept it in wraps so well that nobody else heard about it. Now that changes because now social media, Facebook, messaging, like you'll get something will just get put out there and it's just like, you'll have some veteran coming at them just like, oh, you can't be doing that. You shouldn't be doing. And it's just like, sometimes it's like, yo, mind your business. Keep to yourself. Like if you ain't got sometimes if you ain't got nothing good to say, keep it to yourself. With other situations, it's different. Like you want those things to be said and you want them to communicate those things, but it's difficult to the point where you have people that you should be supporting you, should be helping you out, are the ones holding you back. So a lot of people are holding other veterans back because of just toxic information. Like there's so many channels I've seen of soldiers. Most of them are in the army because that's what it like tends to show me. But it's not only in the army. You'll see these issues with all of the military branches that the community is toxic and it just holds like a grudge. Like, yeah, I'm pissed off at the military sometimes. I don't agree with everything I went through. I had to accept some of it, but a lot of it was just like, no, you don't accept it, and you do speak out on it. You do disagree. I'm not a yes person. I'm not gonna say yes to everything when it could hurt somebody. It's not as efficient, or it's just plain stupid. Just because you have the ability to tell somebody to do something doesn't mean they have to do it. Like some things is just like, yes, that's part of the army. Other things is like, no, that's not how it fucking works. And people don't understand that and they don't know how to distinguish that difference. But the same way that people are just toxic to the point where they don't help, all they do is want to belittle people. And we're not going to go anywhere with that. It's just like that kind of attitude and that way of going about things needs to be just like ceased. It can't exist in our military. Because the thing is those veterans become veterans and you allow them to be veterans on the outside. And then it's like that they're still an influence on the outside. And that's the thing. It's like the army doesn't understand that. Sometimes they just like throw people out like, hey, you're a veteran. You did your time. Thank you. You're done with. We don't care about you and stuff like that. And I think that's the wrong mentality because the thing is those are your number one recruiters. I'm a number one recruiter. Those people on social media, those are your number one recruiters. Why? Because I served. I know what it was like. I can tell them the good stuff, which we still need to talk about. We need to talk about all the good stuff that the army can do for you. Or not only the army, the military can do for you. But it's difficult to do when you have people, when you're trying to do stuff to help other veterans out, trying to knock you down. It's like, I can't do good if the people around me are trying to knock me down. It's like, yeah, you fight through it and you keep pushing because people ain't going to stop me from saying what I got to say. Veterans are not going to stop. They're going to continue to be toxic. People are still going to do what they're going to do and still going to say what they're going to say. They're still going to make and create the videos they do, which I applaud some of them for doing because it's informative and it gives information. And it's just like sometimes you need a good laugh. Sometimes soldiers, hey, when you've had a rough day of working in the military, sometimes you need to sit down and just get a good laugh and just laugh at the shit you went through. And stuff like that is acceptable, but it's unacceptable when it's people you thought were on your side. That's the worst part about it. It's like these are the people that are on your side are being this toxic. There's no room for that. There's no reason why you should tell somebody to let it go. That's what I think really irked me, and that's what sparked up this episode on CruzTalks. It was the fact that this guy said to let it go. And it was just like, no, I will not let it go. I will continue to ask questions. I'll keep on trying to make videos on this because this information needs to be put out because I got kids. If you mean to tell me that one of my kids could end up on a military base, living in a barracks room, and y'all have no idea that it was happening, that's the fucking problem. Because then who the hell am I going after? The command team? A squad leader? A team leader? Like, one of y'all ain't doing y'all job. So somebody needs to be fired. But what's going to happen? They're going to be fired and move to another location, another unit, like nothing happened. It was like, hey, why'd you here? Oh, I just needed to change the scenery. I wonder the fuck why. Because you were doing something you shouldn't have been doing. So now it's just what happens from here? How do we stop that from being toxic? Because if you got this guy that's not even serving anymore telling me to let it go, imagine the people within the army, what they're saying. Imagine them how toxic it could be you having gone through this situation and people are just like, no, we ain't going to talk about it. We're going to keep it on the wraps. We're going to keep it quiet. That's something that needs to change. So that's something that we need to get better at. That's something we need to make sure we can influence people and make it so that it's a positive experience and a positive view of the military. Yes, we have bad apples. Yes, we have toxic people. We have toxic leadership. We have toxic environments. That is not all the Army is. That is not all the military is. You have great things that come out of it. You have great friendships, great knowledge, great experiences you never would have thought you would have done. You could jump out of planes. You can ride on a helicopter. You can shoot a machine gun. You can rappel down a tower. Like, there's so many things that you can do in the military that doesn't get spoken about. But the thing is it gets overshadowed by that toxic. The toxic needs to be eliminated. We need to get rid of it. We need to call those people out and make sure that these people are marginalized and minimized so that they don't exist in the military and make the military seem worse than what it really is. Because the military is a great opportunity. You can gain so much from it and you can experience so much from it, but you not stopping this toxicness is going to hurt the military going forward. So why are we so toxic? Let's change that. But it's just something I had to voice. I had to get it out. I had to speak on it because it was just like that instance of somebody saying to let it go really irked the shit out of me just because of the fact that it was just like people really want you to just like not say shit. They just want you to keep quiet. It's like I didn't make no assumptions. I didn't say anything. I didn't proclaim anything. I was just asking questions. Now, if I can't ask questions, like, yeah, it's an ongoing investigation. I know how the military investigates shit. You got people that don't know what the fuck they doing at times investigating. Or you have some brand new fucking LT that doesn't know any better and is just gonna, oh yeah, I did a good job type bullshit. I've seen it happen too many times. So, we'll see. That's not even counting the... Oh, I forgot. The dude from Third ID that did that. There was a guy that... They say it was a homeless veteran. I'm not sure. Not sure what the information is. Homeless veteran got onto base, which if you're a veteran, you can't get onto base, which is understandable because I can still access base. But he got into a motor pool, stole a Humvee, and drove it into a building. Now again, I got questions. The thing is how did this happen? How was this allowed to happen? How did he get into the motor pool in the first place? And nobody seen him. Nobody questioned it. Like, nobody thought to stop the dude. Like, but the thing is the problem is like that's how the military how it works is just like, hey, that punish everyone mentality. So next thing you know, oh, veterans can't go back on base anymore. Which it would not be far fetched to see. It would not be something that surprises me. But that's an issue. The guy got on base, did that, and it's just like that's the safety of soldiers, which is a big thing. That's always a concern, no matter where you are, active duty or not active duty. That's nerve wracking because it's like, hey, you work there. That's one of the safest places. At least you should think that's one of the safest places. But you have somebody driving a vehicle wildly and just crashing it into a building. That's kind of scary. And it jerks the anxiety of a lot of people and jerks the anxiety in me, basically, just even talking about it. It's just like I said, those things need to be fixed. Some things need to be asked about, like, hey, did this guy have mental health issues, which is a big issue? Was this something that was supposed to happen? Was it allowed to happen? Like, what happened here? Was it because somebody was being toxic? We don't know. But the thing is that's the information we need to get out. That's the information we need to find. That's the information we need to know. So we can start talking about it and, like I said, minimalizing it. Because we need to get rid of those issues and that toxic behavior that's messing up the military community. And I just rambled on, I guess. But, yeah. Let's fix it. Let's stop being toxic to one another. Let's be veterans and let's be helpful to each other. Got too many homeless veterans. We got too many veterans with mental health issues. We need to actually help them, talk to them, bring them up instead of bringing people down and trying to hold them down and trying to belittle them. We get nowhere like that as a community. Let's fix that. That's all I got. That'll end this episode of Cruz Talks. And we'll continue with another conversation. We got to get into the whole let's see what the military can do for you kind of thing. Because it's like Army wants to say be all you can be again. And Uncle Sam wants you. So let's see what we can do to change that. Appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll catch you on the next episode. Are you a veteran in crisis? Remember, you're never alone. Reach out to the Veteran and Military Crisis Hotline for immediate support. They understand your unique challenges and are ready to lend a helping hand. You served your country with bravery, and now it's time to let others serve you. Call the hotline now and take the first step towards healing. Help is just a phone call away.